Have you guys ever wondered how fast you can make a front-wheel drive car in BeamNG drive? Probably not, but I have, so today we're going to find out. What we got right here, the Ishibu Covet, is a kind of a clone of an EF Civic, which is very similar to my car, so kind of feel at home here. So I think we're going to go through BeamNG and build one of these out and see how fast we can make one to go down the quarter mile, because that's what I'm familiar with, and that seems like a good time to me, so you all are just gonna have to suffer through it with me. So I just kind of spawned in here just like the base model Covet, and totally stock. It's the 1.5DX with the 4-speed manual. I actually had a very similar Civic to this, 4-speed and all. And I can assure you, it's quite slow. So it looks like this one makes a whopping 77 horsepower. It's pretty slow. But why don't we go take it to the drag strip and see what we get out of it. Currently, I am in basically just a stock version of the game. Now, I've never tested this car completely stock in the game before, but if I had to guess, probably 17.4 at like, I don't know, 65 miles an hour. And we'll go in the cockpit just for... We're going to launch it right off the rev limiter. Alright, that was some bad shifting, I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's going to matter too much, but... Oh wow. She's screaming. I might have been a little slow with the mile an hour. 17.6 at 76 miles an hour. So I was a little bit off, but safe to say this thing's pretty slow. So let's do some modifications. A big thing for me in this game is cheating, because I feel like there's a lot of mods. Kind of feel like you're cheating a little bit. They kind of break the realism of the game. Basically what I'm saying is that I don't like mods that just make it super easy to just go really fast with totally unrealistic stuff. This is a simulation game after all. But first of all, we will start off with seeing how fast we can make the car with no mods in the game. Let's get to work. We're going to go to the vehicle config here. We're going to go to the engine, and I think it would only make sense. We'll start with the 1.5 because why not? And we'll go ahead and we'll put in the adjustable race ECU and a stage 2 long block and some heavy duty engine mounts. You know, we're going to do all the stuff. Let's do some mods. We'll do it all motor with the stock transmission, just like that. And I suspect immediately we have basically double the horsepower. I suspect we are probably going to have some traction issues. Probably. We'll see how it does on the strip. And the one thing I'm noticing too is that if you see up here, I have the kind of engine dyno graph. It's still climbing even at the rev limiter, so we probably actually do need to rev it a little bit higher, but right off the bat, let's just see how it does, and we'll get into making some tuning adjustments as we go. Got a little bit of synchronizer damage. Whoops. Much better already, though. Look at that. We've shaved off over a full second from the previous quarter mile time. Still with the 1.5 liter. Just gonna raise up the rev limiter a little bit. We'll go into the tuning tab here, and that's probably going to be the number. Actually, it really likes that. Okay, let's just go too far and see. So it looks like right about there, 9100 or so. Probably going to be the number. We'll go like that. Perfect. And we are now at 183 horsepower, which is pretty solid, especially out of a 1.5 liter. I don't know, I suppose that's probably actually maybe fairly realistic for a D series if you were to do a lot of work. Let's see what it does here. Oh yeah. A lot more wheel spin off the line, but I think we still probably picked up a good bit to the 60 foot. And we're picking up a lot of mile an hour. 92 miles an hour. And we skipped over the 15s entirely with a 1472 at 90. Very impressive. The 60 foot is lacking quite a lot though. 2.16 to the 60 foot to be exact. This thing should have no problem going probably a 1.8, maybe even high 1.7, basically just like this, but with some tires. So we'll just throw the best tires I can on these wheels. Front tires. What do we got here? Anything? Basically nothing. Alright, well, let's see. Can we just get a wider 13-inch wheel? That looks okay. Here we go. We got a 24.5 by 8.0 by 13, which is actually a pretty common size for front wheel drive drag racing. So we'll go with that, and let's make sure our tire pressure is not 27 psi because that's ridiculous. We'll go with 10 for now and adjust as needed. Let's go ahead and give this a try. It should at least pick up to the 60 foot. And off the high chip, naturally. Oh man, a full bog off the line. This thing does not make all the torque. Wow. So kind of like I expected, the gear ratio is quite a bit worse, and we actually slowed the car down. I think we did pick up to the 60 foot, but only barely. I suppose we'll just change the final drive. So we will go through from a 389 to, realistically, this thing's going to want a 525, if I had to bet. These 4-speed ratios are not exactly super close ratios, so we'll try this. I bet this will help a lot. That's much better. Much better already. I was even slow on the 1-2 shift, but this is good. Look at that. A 14.40. And our 60 foot is down at the 1.90s now. So that's a lot better. Realistically, I mean, a big issue we're having right now is just a lack of torque. So, I mean, realistically, we're probably going to want to switch the transmission anyways. I'm going to switch to the 5-speed sequential. Let's see how these ratios are compared to the 4-speed. I think it's going to be a lot, but we probably could still gain some by adjusting the first gear length, but I guess we'll see. Maybe it's good. All we can do is test it though. Yeah, first gear is long. Second gear is actually long too. Honestly, all these gears are really long. These gears are actually longer than the 4-speed. And so we've slowed the car down. I think what I'm going to do for now, we're going to give ourselves an adjustable final drive so that I don't have to screw up these gear ratios. So we did have a 525. Let's go to something ridiculous like a 5.7 to 1. Keep this thing in the power band a little better and also help it leave not falling completely on its face. Wow. Not bad, but it's not great, honestly. We're still slower than we were. we'll give this one last try. We'll go 6-1 on the final drive ratio. I don't think this is going to do it, but the drop from 1 to 2 is honestly a lot. This thing just doesn't make a lot of power. So we sped it up a little bit, but we're still slower than with the 4-speed, so we got to tighten up these gear ratios a lot. Let's give it a shot. Much better. Oh, yeah. And I've actually made it too short. Look at that. So I've slowed the car down again. So I'm really just showing my insane skill at the game here. Let's try this. That's better. Yeah, that's better. That's really good, actually. There we go. A 14-1. And 97 miles an hour. So that's pretty good. But obviously we could probably over rev it a bit. Maybe like 9,300, and that'll kind of help us to recover a little better on the shift. This feels pretty good. That feels really good. Really strong there. And look at that. So that actually picked up quite a bit, surprisingly enough. We picked up a good bit to the 60 foot, and ET-wise and mile an hour. So we picked up everywhere, just revving it a little higher, which goes to show you how much turning more RPM can really make a difference as far as average power production goes. But anyways, realistically, we're still fighting just not having that much power and not having a lot of torque. But what we can do, that we haven't done at all yet, is we can start to reduce weight a little bit. So let's just go through and do a couple things that I think can get this thing into the 12s with no extra power. First of all, we don't need to run it with a full tank of fuel, so we'll just drain the gas tank. We will go ahead and we'll take out the passenger seat and the rear seats, you know, race car stuff. You know, we'll do a lightweight, you know, fiberglass hood, common stuff that people like to do. We'll just do a fiberglass tailgate, and we'll do lightweight windows. So basically that would be the equivalent of like Lexan windows. We'll leave the, you know, the dash, the regular seat. So we got a race seat in there. Yeah, I mean, that probably picked up a good bit of power there. Just changing from a regular exhaust to a race exhaust. But we could even take the exhaust off if we're hunting for more weight reduction. But I would say we probably reduced a good bit of weight just by doing those simple modifications. And we did in fact pick up about 20 horsepower. So I would say this is probably, hopefully, going to put us in the high 12s. And you can see for the first time it didn't bog at all on the launch. And just like that, we got a 12.902. And look at that 60 foot, a 168, just like that. Let's go ahead and we'll take it to the all motor race car type of level here. We will put the exhaust out the hood. I don't know how much power it's worth. 7 horsepower is what it's worth in this game at least. And we can do ITBs as well. That was actually worth 40 horsepower. Okay. So that was worth quite a bit more than the header. Well, I guess if you look at that header, you'd see why. Okay. Well, we just put ITBs and a hood exit exhaust on this thing, and we're going to bump the rev limiter up a little bit more because maybe not that much, but it definitely looked like it could use a little more. So now this thing makes even more power and torque, quite a bit more torque as well. And I'm assuming we've dropped a bit more weight, so I think this is going to be quite fast. Low 12s probably. I shifted really bad there. I don't know if this is going to be the best run ever. Oh. We got a 1234 there. And realistically, we geared out there. Let's bring this down to something a little more reasonable. Still kind of insane, but definitely a lot more reasonable now. So we'll give this a shot. See if we can do a little better. Yeah, that's better. Wow. Almost an 11-second car here, guys. Still with a 1.5 single cam. This thing's pretty peppy, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We got a lot of suspension action going on there. So realistically, we can pick up even more in the 60-foot. Probably by just changing the suspension. We'll do the same in the rear. Race rear coilovers. Just reduce the weight transfer a little bit. Stiffen up the chassis, and I think we're gonna get a good bit out of the 60-foot here. Definitely should put us in the 11s, I think. Seems pretty good. I think we're on one here. Holy cow. An 1199 with a 3, but nonetheless, that's an 11. So, what is the next step? 2 cams, I suppose? Actually, less power output, but it's not falling off. This might actually be faster if we rev it out. This might be faster just because I presume we were, I guess, running into valve float or whatever. Now that is alleviated, so I think this might be a touch faster. But we'll see. I'm gonna have to figure out how to drive it again. Yep, a little bit faster, a little bit more mile an hour. Not the biggest change in the world. I was expecting the dual overhead cam to make us a little bit more power. It made more average power, though. But, not the change we need. So, let's go ahead and go to the 2-liter dual overhead cam. And this actually is, I guess, a totally different engine family, so we're gonna have to rebuild it. We'll go to the adjustable race ECU. Well, now we have a stage 3 performance long block. We'll do that, and we'll do the ITBs again. I suppose it would be silly to not do the hood exit again. That insane manifold. So, let's see what kind of power we're looking at now. Wow, 292. That's at 8,600 maybe? 8,500? Oh, and that's all it's got to give. Apparently, you can't rev it any higher, so that's fine. It makes a whole bunch more torque. Realistically, with the gearing that's in it, this is going to be too much torque. We're going to be shifting it a lot. And also, we're probably going to run into the rev limiter, but I think it's going to go fast. And then we'll re-gear accordingly. Oh, that torque. It just picks itself right back up. Geared out by the 8th mile, basically. But an 1146 is absolutely flying. We do not need the crazy gear in it anymore. Thankfully, I think we can go to something like that. We'll give this a shot here. That's a huge change I just made, but we got a lot of torque here. Displacement will do that. Still geared it out. And it went the same ET. But I was really slow on the 1-2 shift, so we'll give that one more shot here. There we go. And a 158 60 foot. So now we're starting to get into actual fast car territory here. Almost in the 10s, and it's going a 158 to the 60 foot, which is actually flying. That is really fast for a front-wheel drive car. Especially in one that doesn't make a whole lot of power, so. With that being said, let's make some power. I think we have the bones for a good setup.